But more importantly, I really do want to help your agents learn to live a life of freedom and take as much of the really stress, right, of trying to figure out, hey, what should I do to connect with my clients? What should I send them? When should I send it? How do I send it? How do I do all this stuff to make people a raving fan for their business? So ultimately, they're liked, known, and trusted. And of course, at the end of the day, they close more deals, retain more clients, right? The name of the game.
Good evening, Heather.
Hello, Liam. How are you this fine day?
Well, I tell you what, we did, we're probably going to win an Academy Award or something for the great shows that we put on. I'm telling you, we did a great job last week. Andrew did a super job. Going to bring him back this week. We're doing a series of part 1 and part 2. Part 1 is with me on how to brand yourself and how to use the branding to write books and all that good stuff. And then next week, we're going to have Mike Driggers, one of the guys that I've hired to help me do a little bit, go to the next level or scale. And so we got a couple good weeks coming up. And then I know everybody keeps, and it's no fault of ours because we just got too much going on. But we are the third, not next Tuesday, but the following Tuesday, we will be doing the Roth conversion seminar, and that's going to be for the paid members, the non-paid members, and clients. And so that is going to be worked on, and we'll be announcing that here shortly. But anyway, I wanted to go over a couple quick things before we started tonight on how to be your own author and how to brand yourself. I told Heather, I said, this week we got a client of mine that had come into the office, and I retired from writing business in 2009, and then in 2016. I decided, to do more of the book writing and all that kind of stuff. But from 9 to 16, I did a lot of consulting and I did a lot of training and all that. And everybody said, "Oh, you can't believe you're doing that." But I still own an agency, but I just decided that it was time and go a different direction. And people said, it wasn't going to work. And our income quadrupled when I left the business. And so evidently it was a good decision. Yes. And so anyway, but I had 3,500 clients when I retired. And, part of that was when I first started in the business, my goal was to write a case a day for 365 days. And a lot of those were term policies that had renewals and stuff, and I could convert those later on down the road. And so one of the things that I did was I wrote a ton of term, and then those people became clients. And I tell young people today, especially if you're starting in the business, that, you might want to think about, trying to build a client base. Yes. Because if you build a client base and when you're having the worst day of your life or the worst month of your career, all you got to do is call the clients that you already have. And they're the easiest ones to talk to. Usually they'll give you a referral, and sometimes things change in their life because, one of my biggest things, Heather, is circumstances changes all of our lives. Yes. And so they might have had something happen, and, you really got to stay in front of your clients and do all that. But that's how I build a base of 3,500 clients. And just the other day, and you never get to retire, Heather, let me tell you, when you have that many clients. And I had a client of mine come in the other day, and she wanted to get her income rider started. And she bought an American Equity thing, and I was an American Gold Eagle for, 10 years or whatever it was. I'm doing this for Drew because Drew's always like, you got to tell people what you did. You got to tell people how success you did 10 million a year. Tell people they want to hear it. No, I don't like hearing people tell me all that. I'd rather you come to the office and look at the plaques on my wall, But I know why Drew does that. He wants people to understand that I've done what I'm trying to get them to do. But this particular client came in, and her husband put $100,000 in an IRA back in June of 2008. And over the last couple of years, they've drawn out their RMD for about $78,000. And so now the cash account on that income rider is still $100,000, and the income side is 214,000. Now we're going to put this up on the page on the group page this week. I gotta redact the names and the policy numbers, but we're going to put this on there so you can see that this is what we do and this is why we do it. We had an 8% compound interest income rider. He's going to draw $1,400 a month after taxes. If he dies, she gets to draw $1,400 a month after taxes. Okay, on for the rest of their lives. Now think if they'd have put $200,000 in there, what that would look like. And remember, it's compounded, so it's not going to just be 2,800. It would be more than that. Yes. Okay, so you got to understand the difference between compounded simple interest and fixed and all that kind of stuff. But not to get too heavy into that. We're going to show you that, and we're going to keep that on there for you. But if you don't have products like that, we do, and we can help you with that. I know. Steve DeBoard has products like that. I know BCA does. A lot of the FMOs that we recommend have those kind of products. And again, that's one of the things that's great about being a member here, even if you're not a paid member necessarily, we still try to help you. But if you're a paid member, the $97 that you pay for us is a retainer fee where you get me, number one, you get Heather, you get Drew, you get Colleen, you get Zach, you get Justin, you get all these people, our design team and everything. I talked to somebody the other day for an hour and 20 minutes, I think it was, and she was flabbergasted. We found $600,000 for her in a federal employees account that she wasn't thinking about. And Heather, you're going to help us with that. Am I wrong? Because that's your backyard, right? That's what you do. Yes.
Yep.
And so one of the things that we're doing when we're doing these coaching calls is I'm not just trying to help you become a better, individual and a better financial person, but I'm trying to help you find business. And so, I know Aldo, I know Bruce, I know a lot of the guys that are members out here will tell you. And I love the fact that they throw those little things on there for us and say how much they appreciate us, because we don't make them do that. They do that on their own. And who's a lady you got me talking to? I think it's Crystal or something. She's been really sweet. I've talked to her a couple times, and I'm helping her out. And anyway, I'm going to get into what we're going to talk about tonight. But I want you to know that that's part of what we do here is try to help you find business. Yes, Heather.
Yep.
And if you're not doing stuff for your clients like that particular thing is ridiculous. And then if you need a product like that, I'm sure we can get you set up if your FMO doesn't have it. But let's talk about how do I brand myself and how do I write books, right? And then somehow or another, Zach's going to move us to the side if he's on here. If not, you got to move us to the side so I can put my slides up. Is Zach on, or I know he was busy. How do we do that? I want to put these. I'm going to see if I can.
Oh, okay.
There we go. Oh. There we go. I did something right. What are the odds? But anyway, so and I'm not going to go through the slides tonight, but I'm going to show you this. This is something that Mike Driggers taught me as well, but I'd already done it and I didn't even know I did it. But Mike's coming on next week, and Mike is with the group that I work with that helps me do my coaching and helps me do my books. Like my next book coming out is The Closer's Edge, The Simple Path to Mastering Sales. So that's coming out here in a couple of weeks. It comes with a course as well. And so that'd be my 5th book. And so we'll be moving that one and telling you a lot about that. But the reason why I'm showing you these slides, this is a seminar that I do called the Babe Ruth Bucket. And you'll see, my number one quote is complexity is the enemy of execution. And, so anyway, so all of these different slides, right? You remember the Tale of Two Participants, that's in the book. All this stuff is in the book. The stuff that Dave Ramsey lies about is in the book. I call it the salesman's optimistic plan, because if you say Dave Ramsey, he'll try to sue you because he doesn't like to be proven wrong, which is pretty easy to do. But anyway, so all of these things in here that I have and that I've done, and this is the one that everybody loves, how we turn $200,000 into $1 million in 45 seconds. But anywho, I'm going to remove that and put us back on. So you start with a seminar and then you build that into a book. And so what had happened was back in 1999, I created the seminar, the Babe Ruth Bucket. And so I'd been doing it. And people said to me, they said, why don't you turn that into a book? And I said, well, I don't know how to write a book. And so I made the choice, and I recommend a lot of you, because one of the things we're going to do and we've talked about this, Heather, is we're going to start having every 6 months a place where people can come and they can take workshops with us. They can see us face to face, right? And we can actually get back to where live events, right? I'm looking really forward to that. And so one of the things I did was I went to Dan Sullivan had a thing going on. I don't know if you know Dan Sullivan, but Dan's pretty popular. And you pay a little bit of money, and they teach you how to do different things and get you whatever your choice might be. Maybe you want to be a speaker, maybe you want to be a better entrepreneur, whatever it is. Well, I wanted to write a book, so I went through that program, and they said 50% of doing anything, Heather, is getting started. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So in my particular case, I had already started. I didn't even know it. I already had a seminar written, and all I had to do was turn that into a book. So I turned the Babe Ruth Bucket seminar into a book. And I've since turned that into a series of 4 books, right? We just released the second one, Truths and Myths of Tax-Free Retirement. It's the first one. The second one is Truths and Myths of Reverse Mortgage and Reverse Purchase. I got bronchitis, so bear with me. I'm trying my hardest to get through this tonight. I'm doing my best. But anyway, so the second one is Truths and Myths of Reverse Mortgage, Reverse Purchase. The third one, which will be out hopefully the next, I'm going to say 30 days. Zach's probably cringing because he's working on that with me. But that one should be coming out shortly as well. It's Truths and Myths of Estate Planning Failures. And then the fourth one will be on taxes and that kind of stuff. So it hits 4 parameters. It hits insurance people, mortgage and realtors, estate planners and attorneys, and also CPAs and accountants. So 4 different books, 4 different seminars, and it's all branded. So I was talking to one of our best guys out there, Aldo, and you all hear me talk about Aldo a lot. Aldo started doing special needs planning and special needs trust, and we helped him get to that point. He was trying to figure out what should I do, and he was trying to figure out which way he should go. And I said, well, tell me a little bit about your life. And that's what I do when I coach. I let you guys, tell me a little bit. And he said, well, I have a special needs child. And I said, well, did you do do you have any kind of funding? He said, oh yeah, we did a trust. I said, why isn't that your niche? And he said, I never thought of that. And he said, you know what? That's going to be my niche. And so we talked about him writing a book. And I said, what if I could have you take the brand that's already out there, the Babe Ruth Bucket, right? And we could turn this in either to a co-authored book or a book of his own. And what we would do is we would call it the Babe Ruth Bucket, Myths and Truths of Special Needs Planning, right? Or whatever he wants to say. So let's say that, Heather, what's a topic that you like? You do federal employee stuff, right? So we would say Heather's going to do a book on the Babe Ruth Bucket, Myths and Truths of federal employee saving, whatever it is, right? Whatever title you want to put. So you have the brand, which has been out there already. You don't have to brand it; it's already done, Babe Ruth. And you can only use this if you come through me because I got the rights to it, right? I mean, I paid for the rights to this, and I got a deal with the Babe Ruth Bucket, the Babe Ruth family, and that's how I can do all that. But so you can brand with that if you want. And we think there's going to be thousands of books, the Babe Ruth Bucket, Truths and Myths of all kinds of topics. Now, you don't have to do that. There's a gentleman in our hometown called Greg McAfee. He runs McAfee Heating and Air, and he did his own book. And this is a really good book. I got a picture on our website where he handed me his book, and I handed him my book. And his book is Build and Grow Your Own Havoc Business. Now, a lot of people think that, when I read the book, it's really, really well done. And it's really, it does talk about some stuff with the Havoc business, but it's really motivational, and it's a really good book how he put this together. And so you don't have to do the branding, right? You can brand your own thing. And I don't know if Greg's going to do more books or not, but this was a pretty good book. But if you'll notice, both of these books are relatively small, right? They're not real big 200-page books. And I have disagreements sometimes with some people that think you need to do 2-hour shows. And you know me, Heather, I like to do 20 minutes and 10 minutes of questions, and then we're out of here. So I like to get it over with and get it done. Same thing with the book. My book's like 120, 130 pages. I think the second book was only 75 or 80 pages. And I just like to get to the point and get you moving on so you can start doing what you need to be doing. Now, the other brand that we have is the Exception to the Rule. That's the new brand that's coming out. And that brand is like the closer's edge The Simple Path to Mastering Sales is a part of the Exception to the Rules series, right? So then, if you had another book that you wanted to do and you wanted to use the brand, the Exception to the Rules series, again, I've got that trademarked and that's our brand. You could use that and work underneath that umbrella. You see what I'm saying? Okay. And so, what I'm trying to get people to understand is that when you're trying to do uh, a book, it's the biggest part of it is write a seminar first, or uh, write a class, and then turn that into a book. Now, one of the things that I want you to share about is there are some tools that you can use that can help you. Chat GPT, right? And
Mhm.
and there's some other tools that we use, some AI stuff. So I'm gonna hush for a second, and I want you to share a little bit. What are some of the things that can help them? Because a lot of people think this is a big task, right? And it can be, and it can be. And one of the things before you start, we can help them with a lot of the tasks. You know, the more we do, the more it costs. Right? The less we do, the less it costs. But there's got to be a money involved because I can't have you, just do it for nothing, and I can't have, everybody's got to eat, and I understand that, and we're pretty reasonable, and we will have the pricing on the membership site probably within the next 30 days or so. I know what pricing I want to use, but I got to see what Mike Triggers wants to do, and we'll know that next week. We may even announce that next week. But I want you to talk about some of the easy ways that you can try to put a book together.
Well, everyone's got their idea of their perfect book and what they would like to put together. And everyone has at some point written something long form, something like this 5 or 6 pages. So, what I did to help with other people, and if you've noticed, I also have a book that I've been giving out for free on our group page. It's AI and insurance. So to write that book, I programmed ChatGPT with other things that I have written. So it learned my voice. I put an outline in there of the things that I wanted to talk about. And then I asked it, and honestly, this is the best way to get ChatGPT to write chapters for you. For each topic, I said, create a blog post from this topic. And then it fleshes out that topic, and that's your one chapter. Then there's another chapter, and you keep on going. Then there's other software that I use that I take it all, put it into a Google Word doc, put it into the program, and it put it into an e-flip book. It will also format it as an Amazon ebook. And whether you're selling it for $10 to get that information out there, of course, you read through it and you make sure that it is correct. You have to be your
And
fact
you want to
checker.
massage it. You want to massage it a little bit so it's you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just there to help you and flush it out, but you have to make sure it's yours, put it in the correct your style, but then run it through it again. So to check grammar, to check spelling, you're using it as your copy editor too, to make sure that it sounds all right, that it's not weird and you didn't like miss a sentence somewhere. So, and that's what Chat GPT can do for you. And then there's other programs that can format it. So then you can put it out places to sell it
And you can turn it
or use
into
it as
like
a
what
lead
we've done.
magnet.
Well, and like what we've done, we have the Babe Ruth Bucket podcast, right? So we use our
Mhm.
brand for that. We had the Babe Ruth Bucket. We're working on the Babe Ruth Bucket app. We'll have the Babe Ruth Bucket app. So that's why being a part of our brand would be powerful for you. We already have it. You don't have to, not that you can't do your own brand, because you can, but a lot of people will say, no, I want to use the Babe Ruth Bucket brand, and here's the other thing, Heather. When I did this book, like I said, and some of the original copies, if you look at them, There are some grammar mistakes and there's some things that we understand that. But and I tell people you're going to have that. But I tell people too, this is a business card. It's not a book that I'm trying to sell millions of copies. I use this in my seminar to give away to the people that come to the seminar, right? And then I autograph the books, or like a lot of times that's an incentive. If you come to the Baby Blue Bucket seminar, you get to meet the author and you get a free book, right? And a lot of people, everybody wants something. They want you to give them something, right? I will tell you this, that the only thing that's ever beaten my book was I had these pens that had the highlighter on one end and the pen on the other. You would not believe how many seniors would beat each other up to grab all the pens that they could that had the highlighter on the top and the pen on the bottom. That's something I could see Drew doing. You know what I mean? But anyway, but that being said, I'm just being funny. But that's what people don't understand, because this becomes a business card. And you say, listen, Bob, I'm going to drop my book off to you, and I want you to take a look at it. I'm going to come back, and when I come back in 2 or 3 days and go, I want to pick it up. I want to ask you what you honestly think about it, because I just wrote it's my first book. I kind of just want to get your opinion. And a lot of times that's a good way to go back and get a second appointment. And then, man, I really like that. I really like that part in your book about the tale of two participants, right? Or I like the part where you talk about how to turn the 401k $200,000 into $1 million. I really like that. Whatever. And so use the book as a tool, right? And it acts like a super powerful business card. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And so, one of the things that I work with Mike, and Mike's, coaching Empire. One of the things and he's going to talk about this next week, is how you can turn this into a coaching tool, how you can turn this into maybe more books if you want. And, one of the great things about working with other people, and like I tell people all the time, I'm not only a coach of coaches, but I'm also coachable myself. Yes. And so, one of the things you always, people might say, well, you're way ahead of the curve. Why would you need a coach? Well, I need people to bounce things off of too. You know what I mean? And sometimes, and me and Mike don't always agree. Mike's got a pretty good thing going, and he's done a lot of great things, and I've done a lot of great things, and sometimes we don't agree, but we have enough of a relationship and enough of respect for each other that we be able to sit back. It's like me and Steve, right? Steve DeBoer. Steve does a wonderful job on some of the things that he does, and Mike, Dressinger, Mike cuts himself short. Steve's the guy. Mike's pretty sharp. I'm going to tell you that right now, and I hope Mike's watching. Mike's pretty sharp too. I think they're both great guys. And like I said, I got to get Steve back on here, but I don't know. I think Steve's got a book out. I'm not sure. If not, Steve, get a hold of me. We'll have you brand a Steve DeBoer book with the Babe Ruth bucket. They're probably laughing right now. But anyway, so I go back to you a little bit, Heather. One of the great things that I know that you've been able to do is that, when people, come in and they say, hey, how do we do this? We have pretty much the tools to get them started. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And what are some of the things that, do you agree with the fact that kind of do an outline, just kind of write a seminar to start with, maybe, or write a class, and then kind of turn that into a book? Because what it does, it gives the ideal and the flow, right? Because a lot of times, if you're just trying to write a book, you're sitting there going, how do I want to start this? I've been watching some things about like TED Talks, for instance. A lot of people don't know this, but TED Talks are only 18 minutes long. Do you know that? 18 minutes long. That's it. And so I started asking, and they don't get paid. I don't know if you know that either. They don't get paid. And so that's what I maybe somebody can correct me and say, oh yeah, they get paid, but that's not what I read. But anyway, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But see my wife on there. You're wrong. Anyway, so 18 minutes. And so one of the things that I watched one of the speakers say was, she doesn't waste any time talking about her life, talking about the TED people that brought her, talking about anything. She starts right in to what she wants to talk about. And so when you do a book, I would highly recommend you just start talking about what you want to talk about. Like in my book, I like to do everything different. Everybody knows I do things a little bit different than most people. I only like to do a 20-minute show. I only like to do 30 minutes tops, and I like to get on with my day. So in my book, I put about the author in the back. I don't put it in the front. I put it in the back. Now, I did that for two reasons. One reason is it's different. Second reason is it made my mom have to go all the way through the book till she found the part about her. And that's the only sentence that she read was my mom's name, right? But I made her go through the whole book to find it. So anyway, that was what I did to my mother. She's probably watching tonight as well. But anywho, so if you're looking to do a book, like I said, we got the hashtag book on there if you want us to help you. If you're looking to maybe even do a co-author thing with me, that I know Mike's going to talk about that next week. That's going to be a huge advantage to you if you want to do that, because we do a lot of that with you. And here's something too, Heather, with my third book that's coming out on the series, I have an attorney that's writing the foreword, right? And she does a lot of my business with all of my clients. My office, if you can see outside, right behind my office is my CPA and my attorney. I deliberately rent the office in front of them because all my clients, when they need estate planning or taxes, they go right there. But what do you think his clients do when they need financial advice? So I tell people, a lot of times location still works, right? And it is what it is. But that being said, she's going to write the foreword to my book, right? And so let's say that Heather, let's say you wanted to do a book, but you didn't want to do the co-author thing. I said, okay, Heather, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll do a book on federal employees, truth and myths of federal employees, and I'll write it, and we'll call it Liam, but you will do the foreword. Okay, so in every sense of the word, you're in the book. It's kind of your book, yes. Not as much work, not as much effort, not as much cost. All I would have you do is pay for the books and use them in your seminars or whatever. You see what I'm saying? So there's all kinds of, because I know a lot of people get afraid, and I made one lady mad on here one time. I said that 80% of the people, and I think it's higher than that do seminars shouldn't be doing them, right? And she threw a fit. You just ruined my whole life. I try and try and try. You made me feel terrible. And I said, well, you didn't listen to what I said. I didn't say they couldn't. I said they shouldn't. And when I train people how to speak, one of the things I tell them to do is, in some cases, just talk less. Right? I mean, I've seminars, and you just sit there and you go, oh my goodness. I went to a seminar in Florida. Somebody told me, you got to go see this doctor. He's a financial guy. He does $20 million a year. He said, he wouldn't tell me, but he said, you need to go down and see him. So I paid my dime. I called him up and I said, listen, I want, and you can do that with me too. And I said, I want to spend 2 days with you. I want to come down, watch your seminars, watch how you do all your business, blah, blah, blah. Because I wanted to learn, right? He's doing $20 million a year. I was doing 10. I wanted to know how I could do 20. And I wanted to do it, not as hard as I was doing the 10, right? You know how I am. I want to teach you how to work smarter, not harder, right? And so I go down there and I watch his seminar. It's no more than 20 minutes, maybe 15. The worst seminar I've ever seen in my life. Horrific. All right. He comes out, tells a corny joke, talks about something stupid, and then he finishes up. But you got to understand, this guy was the dapper Don of good looking guys, right? Like I remember, what was the guy that played Smokey the Bandit with Burt Reynolds? He said when he met Elvis, that was the best looking man he ever seen in his life, right? Well, that's what this guy was. I mean, he was good looking, and I'm not that guy. But he was so captivating that people just didn't matter what he said. And his wife was pretty, and she was all dressed to the nines, and they went out and set appointments for every single person that was in the room. And so I went to his office the next day to see the first appointment. He's got one person in the lobby, one person in the office. And I asked the secretary, I said, what's he do? She goes, he deliberately sets appointments 15 minutes apart. So it's like a doctor's office. Remember, he was a doctor. So he runs his insurance practice like he's a doctor. So I started thinking, that's a pretty good idea, because then even if it's all about perception. Yes. Am I wrong?
No, you're absolutely right.
All about
Make it look busy.
Right. And so that's how he was doing what he was doing. And so I go back to my buddy, that's the worst seminar. And at the time, I was doing seminars hour and a half, 2 hours long. Now, listen, you know my personality, and you know what I'm all about, and you know I can get away with that, right? Because I keep people's attention and people. But I said, you know what, I'm going to go and I'm going to start doing 20-minute seminars. Because what would I rather be doing? Would I rather be talking for 2 hours or writing business?
Writing business.
writing business. So you don't need to talk for all that time, and you need to make that effort to work on how do I make that simple. Like I tell people all the time, I can take one thing out of this book, like we did the one time we did the Tale of Two Participants. It's just one chapter, right? And then,
Mhm.
we did a seminar with that, right? You don't have to do the whole book necessarily, and so that'll help you as well. And so I think that the point I'm trying to make is that if you want to do a book, there's ways you can do it all by yourself. There's ways that we can help you. There's ways that we can brand with you. There's ways that we can do a co-author book. There's ways that you can just do the forward and you still got the book. There's all kinds of ways to doing it where it's not going to be, and you're looking at $2,500 to $5,000, give or take, and depending on how much work is to be done, right? And then it comes out to how many books do I want to buy? Like, sometimes we just do ebooks, like the reverse mortgage book. Not a huge calling for that book, so we do ebooks on that. Now, at some point, we might do that in paperback. Whatever. I don't know, but I know the estate planning failure book we're going to do paperback because that's going to be a big book. Because I know a lot of people will want that when they want to take that and do seminars or whatever. So that'll be another big plus there. But we're gonna call it a night. We're at our half hour mark. And if we have any questions, Heather, let me know. And then what we're going to do next week, Mike Driggers will be on next week, and Mike's going to be sharing with us not only how to do the books and stuff like that, but he also has the coaching thing, and that's the other thing that I've been looking for too. As people get a hold of me and I talk and I do my coaching, there's a gentleman in California that I talked to a week or so ago. I can't remember his name, but I will get it. But he would make a great coach. And so a lot of time when I'm doing coaching calls with individuals, I'm also looking for individuals that can come on and be a part of our team in the future. Because in the future, we're going to be doing not just the books, but we're going to be doing coaching and all kinds of. I cannot coach 10,000 people. As much as I'd like to, I cannot. Now I know you can do 20 people on a screen and all that, and sometimes that works. I get that. And I know Mike does that with us when every Tuesday he's got coaching hours from like 1 to 3, and everybody gets a question, and then they come back around if they've got time. And the great thing about that is you learn from other people. Yes, that's a big plus, and that kind of coaching is just fine. And so that'll be something else that that we will do and that kind of stuff. But anywho, I'm going to look forward to seeing Mike next week. He's going to be on here with us. Heather, close us out. Say goodbye to everybody. Give them whatever they need to do. Zach's going to put do we have any questions? Did you see any questions?
There were no questions. We had a technical glitch and we didn't stream to the place that we were going to stream to on time. So I figured I'd leave it to the end to tell you that. Facebook has been.
It'll be done in the replay though, right?
Yeah, it should be there in the replay. I hope we'll figure it. Zach and I'll figure it out.
You guys are awesome.
But yeah. Anyway, that's all we have. And goodbye to our audience. And I guess we'll be seeing a lot of hashtag replays on this.
And part 2 next week. Can't wait.
Yep, part 2. Night, everyone.
Night, everybody. We're